Yeah. I've said many times before, I'm a big fan of Dolph Lundgren, one of our more underrated action stars, but this is getting to the point in the Dolph Lundgren series of reviews where we're at sort of the low point of his career during this time period, going to the 2000s. Because it started off with a bang, Rocky 4, I Come in Peace, Red Scorpion, The Punisher, Showdown Little Tokyo, Men of War, all films I love. And even some of his direct-to-video films like Sweepers, Stormcatcher, The Peacekeeper, I do enjoy. But now we're getting to The Last Patrols, aka The Last Warrior, which I'll get to. We're getting to Jill Rips, aka Jill the Ripper, or a film like Agent Red. There's a line in this film where a commanding officer is talking to Dolph Lundgren, and the guy mentions, "Have you heard of Agent Red?" And Dolph literally says, "Sounds like a bad action movie." And I'm like, yep, pretty much. Pretty fucking much. This movie is one of Dolph's worst fucking films. When you look at the trivia, and this is the trivia for it, Phoenician Entertainment / Franchise Pictures went through 3 editors and 2 directors trying to fix the film without any reshoots. Eventually, about 40 minutes of the original 100-minute cut from Damian Lee was replaced with 40 new minutes of new connective exposition and action sequences, which producer Jim Wynorski had to reshoot in about 3 days. And this is to make the film more cohesive. So you also get a lot of stock footage from not only some low-budget titles, but some bigger budgeted films as well. For example, Blown Away, the film with Jeff Bridges and Tommy Lee Jones. There's some stock footage from that. Remember that movie, Blown Away? If you've never seen it, Jeff Bridges goes after a mad bomber played by Tommy Lee Jones. And at the end of that film, there's this huge, massive explosion where the camera's far back, but you see what's supposed to be Jeff Bridges and I believe Forrest Whitaker's characters running on a dock, jumping to the water. That's in this movie. Granted, they're this big, but there's not supposed to be anybody running on that dock for the scene in this movie. But it's like, here's this boat exploding because these Russians decide to blow up this boat for some fucking reason. And you see like these 2 little people running on the dock, jumping in the water, and in connection with this film, you're like, who the fuck is that? So technically, if you go up to Jeff Bridges, you can tell him technically he's an Agent Red. There's also stock footage from Crimson Tide. There's stock footage from another Dolph Lundgren film. I have over there Stormcatcher. Yes, stock footage from even that film, as well as Michael Dudikoff's Countermeasures. Yes, stock footage from a direct-to-video Dudikoff film. That's how fucking bullshit this movie is. Here's the thing. At this time in the 2000s, you saw this done a lot. Direct-to-video films using stock footage from other movies. There's some Treat Williams. I forget the actual name of the film, but there's a Treat Williams flick where they literally steal an entire scene from Last Action Hero. And it might be the same one that they steal footage from Cliffhanger. I forget the actual name of the movie. I know there's another movie. Either it has Treat Williams or Dean Cain in it, where they steal footage from Terminator 2. And again, they did this a lot. I don't know if they do this nowadays. People can let me know if they do that nowadays, that they take stock footage from other films. But I guess you're able to just pay for it and get footage. So technically, what if I had enough money? Could I make a movie and put stock footage and release it for people to fucking buy? But this came out in 2000. The plot: there's this bioweapon called Agent Red. The Russians had it. They want to give it back to the U.S. Dolph Lundgren as Matt Hendricks. Great, my first name, Matt. He is hired by Stephen Mott. Yes, the guy from the Monster Squad. He was the dad in that. He was in Stephen King's Graveyard Shift. Bravo! Radicha Stasic! That guy. He's in this for like 5 minutes and he never comes back for the rest of the movie. But he's the guy who asks Dolph, do you know what Agent Red is? And then Dolph says that line. Sounds like a bad action movie. It's like, maybe Dolph put it in and it's like, this fucking movie. I might as well say this line. But this bioweapon, this virus, they need to transfer it back to the US, so they're going to be transferred on this submarine. So these Russians, this stereotypical, one-dimensional, evil Russians. You have the bad guy, and then you have the evil female who is in love with the bad guy. Them and others take over the submarine, and you get quite a few boring scenes. I do mean a few, because there's not much action in this movie. Of Dolph fighting some people or shooting some people in the submarine, done very piss poorly, with either the camera's a bit too close, or there's little to no energy, or there's not much of choreography. Nothing of value to any of these bits of action scenes. And then the bigger stuff is stock footage. Like, it begins with Dolph on a mission with these people. These helicopter shots, I'm wondering what movie they stole that out of. And the mission is to steal an airplane. So there's a scene stolen from Stormcatcher, another Dolph Lundgren film, with this is supposed to be Dolph's character in a flight suit. I think in Stormcatcher it was another person. I can't remember. But the visor, you can't see through the face. But yellow jumpsuit, shooting people, stealing this plane. I'm like, Stormcatcher just came out a year or so before this film. They're already stealing footage from that. And the first 6 minutes of the movie, like, you can't even film that shit. Dirty D's done dirt cheap indeed. So they steal this plane while Dolph's team gets in these firefights and explosions stolen from other movies. Then the scene ends and makes you go, why the fuck was this even in the movie? I guess because they thought this movie's fucking boring because there's a lot of talking. And that's the thing with a lot of direct-to-video action films. The reason you get a lot of talking is because talk is cheap. That's why I give humongous credit to the PM Entertainment films. Look those films up. Films of Jeff Wincott, like Last Man Standing. Land of the Free with Jeff Speakman. Or other direct-to-video films, like Jeff Speakman's Deadly Outbreak, where they have these big, huge action sequences that 99% of it is its own stuff. And PM Entertainment did that a lot. I don't know how the hell they afforded it, but I give much credit to that. But this, after that footage, which really you didn't even need this opening sequence in the film, just to show that Dolph can steal a plane and sit there, pretend like he's flying a plane. It's not like he's shooting, breaking necks, fighting. He goes in. What's supposed to be him, probably footage stolen from another one of his movies, shooting people in order to steal a plane, shooting bad guys in order to steal a plane. The reason I'm hammering that home is that this is how our film starts. This is how you know you're in for a hell of a shitty treat. And then we introduce Stephen Mott, gives him the mission. We get the exposition. This is a bioweapon virus. What's funny, after Stephen Mott gives this explanation, and then it cuts away to these Russians blowing up this boat, which, again, I don't remember why the fuck they did it. I guess so that you can put in stock footage from blown away. Which, again, you see two little teeny people on the dock running into the water. So if you ever see this film, you wonder who those two little people are. It's Jeff Bridges and Forrest Whitaker for Blown Away. I'm not even a big fan of Blown Away. but it's a hell of a lot better than this. Then it cuts back to Stephen Mott and the remaining bits of his 5 minutes in this film, and they introduce this female doc that seems like she's going to be the second lead of our film. And then she disappears. Probably because all that fucking footage that had to be reshot. Maybe that's how. No, instead, it's another female, which I'm sorry, maybe this lady is a nice person in real life, but I did not care for her performance at all. Who is an ex-fiance, and she's a doctor, and she joins the mission of the submarine. I'm sorry, I didn't buy her at all. As a doctor, I didn't buy her acting, I didn't buy her being tough. She seems like a lady that would fit more in a Cinemax movie than in this movie. I didn't buy her one bit. I thought her line delivery was pretty awful. I thought she had no chemistry with Dolph. Dolph, he's doing the best that he can, but he can't fucking win in this movie. He just can't. There's barely any action. With the few bits of fighting, again, they're sluggish. You don't care about any of the characters. You don't really know much about any of the rest of the characters, whether it be the villains, whether it be the other individuals on the submarine. If someone's going to ask which is worse, Submarine Dolph movie, this or Blackwater, Blackwater with him and Van Damme is more disappointing because you have the two of them, but this is easily the more technically worse film is this one. There's a tons of stock footage, low, opposite of energetic direction. It seems like they're going around the same fucking set of pipes, going from point A to point B. The bad guys, they unleash this gas that kills most of the crew as they do their best Star Trek original series acting of falling down. And I remember watching this going, wait a minute, everyone's dying from this gas. Why is Dolph not dying from this gas? He has this fucking... why did Dolph not die from that gas? Now that I think about it. Because what happens is the bad guys unleash this gas, it goes through the whole submarine, kills everyone, or at least knocks them out and infects them, and I guess killed them, or they went around and shot everybody after they got knocked out. Because they mentioned that everyone else is dead. But it doesn't really affect Dolph. Because, okay, back up a bit. Dolph is trying to give this ring to his ex-fiancée so that it could be his official fiancée. She gets grabbed by the bad guy. Dolph breaks one guy's neck. He gets thrown over, knocked out. They leave him. They put this gas, unleashes so that everyone submarine is being affected, going to the ground. And then by dialogue we find out everyone's dead. Whether they shot him afterwards or the gas. But Dolph doesn't really get affected by this gas. He coughs like 2 times and then the rest of it, like the bad guys are wearing gas masks and Dolph, I don't know why. And don't tell me, oh, they put him in injection. Yeah, the injection was an antivirus for the Agent Red. Not for this whatever fuck gas they put out. So I don't know why Dolph was, I guess Dolph's immune to the gas. Yeah, this movie's got fucking gas from an ass of a hippopotamus. Awful dialogue. Like the scene where you see an action movie where the bad guys ask, "Where are my men?" And he's naming the names of his men. Are you there? And Dolph goes, right names. Wrong plane of existence, pal. And then he also says, think of me as a fly in your borscht. A fly in your borscht? It's certainly a long way from a fly in the ointment, pain in the ass from Die Hard. Hell, later on, Dolph would write better lines for himself in Command Performance. Dying is easy. Rock and roll is hard. This shit is shit. And again, so much talking of people in the other submarine, wondering what's going on. At one point, 2 people arguing about their slice of golf. Who gives a fuck about golf? Or it cuts from time to time to this newscaster guy given information I don't give a fuck about. This Russian president trying to call on the phone, who's in the same set the entire fucking movie with his bottle of vodka, or whatever the hell. Maybe that's real vodka that the people made this film fucking was drinking. But again, there's so much talking because talk is cheap. The terrorist group called themselves Commencement. I'm like, what kind of a lame duff fuck of a name is that for a terrorist group? Commencement. Why was it called Commitment? Or Consensual Contentant? What the fuck does that mean? What the fuck does any of this movie mean? Bunch of stock footage from Crimson Tide, which is a good movie. I'd just rather watch that movie. And that's the thing, especially direct-to-video films that deal with the submarine. You don't see a lot of stock footage from The Hunt for Red October or Crimson Tide. Or if it's a direct-to-video film of Airplane, you don't see stuff from Top Gun or Iron Eagle or some other movies. So then they do a lot of low-budget films of that nature because here's a bunch of stock footage, we'll just use that and our budgets will be cheaper. So they have the good sub firing on the sub that Dolph and the bad guys are on, and vice versa, getting stock footage from Crimson Tide. Dolph once in a while travels through the sub, punches a guy, shoots a guy, punches another guy. Again, very poorly executed, not much choreography, not much in terms of filmmaking of these action sequences. Andrew Stevens, who was he a producer on this? I think he was like a CEO of the company who released this, or one of the CEOs. For those who don't know Andrew Stevens, he started off as an actor. He was in films like The Terror Within. Then he graduated to being a producer, a director, and then he became a CEO guy with a little bit of power. He has a cameo in this. I think he was one of the guys who said, with the first cut of the movie, nah, this isn't gonna work. We need to take 40 minutes out and reshoot it in like 3 days. I mean, I don't know what that footage would have been, but it can't be worse than what the fuck we got. Then after it, the fiance of Dolph and the evil lady, sometimes they get in a cat fight, they get in a little struggle, the evil woman breaks some stuff and she gets infected and dies from it. Dolph has a little struggle with the main bad guy, puts a thing in his mouth, hits it, so that guy's infected. Then later on he comes back, Dolph shoots the shit out of him after this little tiny firefight, and the guy dies. And you don't even see blood squibs. It's just shooting, cut away, guy has blood on him. Cut away, shoot him, cut away, guy has more blood on it. Like, they couldn't afford fucking blood squibs for that scene. And then it's, everything's fine. Dolph and the lady are going to be stuck on the submarine for 72 hours, so they're going to do a lot of fucking. And then this movie just did a lot of fucking on my time. And then it has one of those credits where each actor just shown in a title card. Even people who were in it for like a minute, they did a little title card. It's always funny when direct-to-video films do that because the running time is short. So this lengthens it. And you're like, who the fuck was that guy? Oh yeah, I don't remember him because he was only in the film for 54 seconds, but he has his own title card. The villain's nothing, the action is nothing, a lot of stock footage, the plot is nothing. Dolph feels sorry for him because I know he can do better. The actress who plays his fiance, ex-fiance, whatever, she wasn't much in the acting department, I'm sorry. This has a director's commentary with Damian Lee, which was a bunch of horse shit. Because he should have been honest and said, yes, we know we fucked up. This is all the troubles that we had with it. No, this guy, full of shit. FOSS, as I call it. FOSS, full of shit syndrome. Just like this fucking movie. The commentary, he doesn't go into any of those details goes in the fucking diatribe about bioweapons and viruses. Like, dude, you made a shitty direct-to-video film where 40 minutes of your goddamn movie had to be reshot in 3 days. Talk about that. Don't give us this bullshit. So the comment, and why the fuck does that have a commentary in the first place? Shonen Little Tokyo doesn't have it. Fucking Rocky 4 doesn't have a commentary, but this piece of shit does. I don't know what else to say. I'd just be repeating myself. Horrible film, easily one of Dolph's worst movies. Yeah. I don't know why. I keep thinking I see Agent Red, and I keep thinking of Red Heat. I just think of Arnold Schwarzenegger. How you deal with stress? Vodka. You have to drink fucking vodka after watching this goddamn movie. See you guys later. Bye-bye.